Alright guys, welcome to week 3 OM training video. We're going to talk a little bit about Z-Wave, Rediscover Network, and diagnostics. Just a quick review. We know that the frequency that the Z-Wave communicates on is a 908.4 frequency. Also some good information about Z-Wave as well is the way that it communicates with devices is it hops, okay? And it has to actually hop to a device. So anytime that you need to, when you set up a Z-Wave mesh or you need to set up a path, the way that it communicates with the control panel, which is the Sky panel, or the device out here, it'll actually, the maximum hops that it'll do is 4 hops. So here you have a Sky control panel, 1 hop to a repeater, 2nd hop to a repeater, 3rd hop to a repeater, 4th hop to a device. Now, I don't think we have too many accounts out there where it's hopping 4 times, but just so you know, the maximum hops for a Z-Wave signal path is 4, okay? I think most of ours are probably just 1. You might get one that has 2. There may be a couple out there with 3 or 4, but it's very rare, okay? Now, there are certain devices that we use on our system that can be used as repeaters, okay? We know that we have the lamp module that can be used as a repeater. We know that the garage door controller can be used as a repeater. You may see something coming soon that we're going to put out there, which is called a Vivint repeater, okay? This is a lot smaller than the lamp module. It'll actually plug into a receptacle, screw to it, and it's very, very small and only covers up 1 receptacle. Okay, we haven't launched these yet, but I have a feeling that you will see these because they're a little bit cheaper than the lamp modules. Okay, now the other device out there that we install is the CT100. Okay, and it can actually be used as a repeater. The tricky thing is it depends on how you learn that into the panel. It has to have a C-wire. Okay, a lot of technicians that we run through training or experienced guys, they don't remember or they don't realize that, hey, this can be used as a repeater, which helps the Z-Wave mesh. The more powered devices that you have that are 24/7 powered can be used as a repeater, and it helps the communication of those battery operated devices. Okay, the secret to this one here is we go to a house and we know that the thermostat has a C-wire. The steps that we want to follow is we actually want to install the CT100, wire it up correctly with all the wires and the C-wire, apply power to it, set the switches on the CT100, then hit reset, okay? Because if it has the C-wire and the batteries in it, when it resets, it'll say, hey, this does have C-wire, so the thermostat will know that it's running off a C-wire, okay? Then we go and learn it into the panel after we've done those steps there. And then the panel will realize, hey, I can use this as a repeater, okay? Now, we know that when we learn the Z-Wave devices into the panel assigns it a node ID, okay? The Sky panel is the Z-Wave controller. It is always node 1. The node IDs are important when you run Rediscover Network and the diagnostics test because it will tell you what nodes are actually repeating the Z-Wave communication and what nodes are not repeating the Z-Wave, and those are going to be your battery operated ones that aren't going to be repeating, okay? So we know that Rediscover Network and diagnostics tests are very, very important, okay? A Rediscover Network actually goes out and sets up the Z-Wave path of communication. So it's going to go out and it's going to talk to all the devices, and then it's going to find out, hey, I'm going to send this door lock through this repeater to the control panel. Okay, it goes out and sets up that path of how things are communicating. Some of them might say, hey, communicate straight with the panel or communicate through a repeater that's installed in the house. Okay, so that's what Rediscover Network does, is it sets up that Z-Wave path. The diagnostics test goes in, and this is what it does. When we run the diagnostics test, it actually hits that device 60 pings to determine the health score. That's what we're looking for, okay? So we run it, it pings that device 60 times to get the health score. The health score that we're looking for is 8 or higher. It's going to report as an 8, a 9, or a 10. If you get that health score, you have your diagnostics test was successful, and that device is in a good, healthy place, and it is communicating really good with the Sky panel, okay? Anything lower, you're going to need to make some adjustments to your repeaters or add repeaters to the system, but you're looking for 8 and higher on the health score, okay? Now, there are a couple places where you can run Rediscover Network and the diagnostics test, okay? One is an installer test mode, okay? After you've installed all the Z-Wave devices into their proper locations and they've been learned into the panel, okay? When you run installer test mode and you go through all of those steps and it gets to Rediscover and diagnostics test, it's either going to give you a pass or a fail. It's not going to give you the scores. So if they pass in all their proper locations, then you have a good Z-Wave mesh and a good health score, okay? Outside of installer test mode, you can run the Rediscover and the diagnostics test. This is where you can actually get your health score, okay? When you run the diagnostics test, it goes through each device. It'll tell you the health score, okay? The cool thing is after it runs the diagnostics test, you can actually click on the individual boxes, and it's going to give you information like the routes that it's taking, the devices, they're called neighbors, the devices that are repeating, and devices that are not repeating. And that's where understanding, what the nodes are, which you can actually find out, what each node is. So if you need to check to see if the thermostat, okay, the CT100 is being used as a repeater, when you run that diagnostics test and you click on a device, if the thermostat is a node 4, okay, you can go in and look and say, hey, these are the repeating neighbors. Node 4 is a repeating neighbor. You know that thermostat is actually working as a repeater with the C-wire, so it was learned in right. Okay. Now you may show up on a job that's having Z-Wave trouble. You can go in and check and say, hey, the CT100 has a C-wire, but it's not being used as a repeater. That's because the tech learned it in on batteries. And so the panel goes, hey, this thing is battery operated. I'm not going to use it for a repeater because it's just going to drain those batteries. So you can actually go in, delete it out, hit reset, and then relearn it back in, and then the panel will use it as a repeater. If you do that, you're going to have to run your Rediscover Network and your diagnostics test again. Okay? Other than that, if you have any questions about Z-Wave, email me. Plus, we're going to actually show on this video next Rediscover Network and a diagnostics test so that you can actually watch it. And we're going to click on these individual boxes, or one of them, just so you can kind of see the information that is set up there. Also, at the end of this video, you will be able to get the test link of where you need to go in and take the test for this Z-Wave training. So, like I said, if you have any questions, email me. Thanks a lot.